Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are LA.
It's time for Angels Spring Training Baseball. This afternoon, the Angels are back at Tampa Diablo Stadium as they take on the National League West San Diego Padres. Weather-wise today here in Tempe, overcast skies, a threat of rain, a little bit on the cool side as we get set for baseball action. Terry Smith along with Jose Mota. Our pleasure to be with you here this afternoon as the Angels are back home. Jose, today's a day where we'll finally see some of the Angel regulars, the everyday players in the lineup. One of them is Mike Trout. He seems to be on a mission. He won another MVP award for the Angels last season, 2 in the last 3 years. Might be looking to run the bases a little bit more. It's going to be fun to see him in the lineup today.
Always fun to have Mike Trout back again on the field. Preparation time is over. It's time to go out there and execute. And we've seen through the years execution, Terry, and also continuing on the promises for getting better. Stealing more bases? Yes. Check that. Throwing better? Yes. Get him on the baseball? Yes. Being better at cutting down strikeouts? Yes. More power? Absolutely. And it's just the best player in the game continues to challenge himself to get better. And, of course, the other news is he's quite happy, excited about the company he's going to have out in the outfield. His wingman, his buddy Cole Calhoun, Gold Glove caliber in right field. And another center fielder next to Mike Trout is Cameron Maybin, who comes over from Detroit. He was on the field. He was healthy last year, and certainly he's going to be able to almost give Mike Trout a little bit of rest, keep some fresh legs, all because we know Maybin's going to have that mentality, Terry, of playing like a center fielder and taking some of those balls, perhaps that Mike Trout knows he can get to, but perhaps saves those fresh legs for September, too.
5 regulars in the lineup for the Angels for the first time this spring. Pitching-wise, things have gone well. The Angels have won their first 2 games in the Cactus League, have given up just 3 runs in those 2 games, and the Angels have to feel good about the way the arms look so far, even though we haven't seen any of the regular starting pitchers get the baseball yet.
Exactly, and Mike Scioscia, along with his pitching coach Charles Nagy, know that the roadmap set here in spring training is the one that's going to lead you into opening day and how that's going to work out. But also, very nice to hear that yesterday, Garrett Richards, who was projected as the Angels' ace, took the mound to face live hitters. And we're going to hear from Charles Nagy about Richards and also about today's starter in J.C. Ramirez.
Yeah, it was good to get Garrett back out there. His throwing program a little behind the other guys, but it sets him up nicely for his first start down here next Sunday in spring training. So yesterday was his side day, throw to live hitters, and he threw the ball well. He looked comfortable out there on the mound. He threw all his pitches, came out of it well. Good breaking ball, good velocity on his fastball. The hitters were very complimentary towards him. They didn't like being in the box when he was throwing, but you know, it's part of what happens there. And JC last year, yeah, he came out of the bullpen for us a lot last year, late inning guy, good strong arm, but he's been a starter in the past. So it's just an option that we had, stretch him out, see how that goes this spring training. He gets his first start today.
Well, J.C. Ramirez on the mound for the Angels today, as Charlie Nagy mentioned. Jose, it'll be interesting to find out where he might be slotted as far as the Angels pitching staff is concerned in 2017.
And what we saw from him in 2016 when the Angels got him from Cincinnati on the waiver claim is a guy that really got quite comfortable as he faced hitters in late innings or middle innings. He's able to throw triple digits, but he also became a guy that had a great feel and a better feel for the outspeed and the splitter and for his curveball. So the Angels are counting on him to provide some depth and perhaps at some point utilize him to face one hitter with that velocity that he does have.
He appeared in 70 games a year ago, most of them with the Angels. Didn't make a single start, but Jose, will see him get the start today.
I think it's good. He's looking forward to it. He almost went to winter ball, in fact, to throw winter ball, but perhaps he welcomes this challenge because this could lead not just into the rotation, but also if the Angels need multiple innings out of him, he's got the power to do it.
So it's the Angels and the San Diego Padres today here from Tempe Diablo Stadium. Weather a little bit iffy, but we should be good to go in a few minutes when the two teams are ready to take on each other. Mike Trout in the Angel lineup today against San Diego. It's coming up next on Fox Sports West.
Back at Tempe Diablo Stadium. So happy you could join us here from spring training. Angels game number 3 here in the Cactus League. Umpires getting ready as they discuss the rules. So are the Angels already on the field. Padres managed by Andy Green. And a lot of battles going on for this camp. They have Corey Spangenberg returning from a serious injury last year. He's at third base, multi-talented player. Eric Ibar, former Angel, very popular player here, getting a lot of claps from the fans. Ibar vying to try to become the starting shortstop is batting second. Will Myers, outstanding season for them. Sign up to a long-term deal. He's at first base. Myers batting third. Hunter Renfroe is in right field batting fourth. Carlos Asuaje will play at second base, bat fifth. Austin Hedges is a catcher batting sixth. Colin Cowgill, former Angel, is in center field batting seventh. Jabari Blash is in left field batting eighth. And batting ninth is multi-talented, multi-positional Christian Bettencourt. He's a designated hitter, and he'll be facing Angels right-hander J.C. Ramirez. Mike Scioscia and his Angels with Yunel Escobar at third base leading off. Welcome back, Yunel, with a number 0 on his back. Cole Calhoun Rojo in right field batting second. Mike Trout, the MVP, two-time MVP in the American League, batting third and center. Luis Valbuena has played every game. He's at first base batting fourth. C.J. Cron, designated hitter, batting fifth. Batting sixth is Cameron Maybin, making his debut with the Angels here in camp in left field. Danny Espinosa also in his debut at second base, batting seventh. Carlos Perez threw out a couple of base runners first game out. He's a catcher, batting eighth. And Anderton Simmons Simba, who's been quite busy, will bat ninth at shortstop. It's all ready to go, and here's Terry Smith.
All right, thanks, Jose. We're ready for the action as J.C. Ramirez delivers the game's first pitch. It is right in there for a called strike on Corey Spangenberg. We're underway in the count, 0-1. We'll set up the Angels for you defensively in just a moment. Halos have the red tops, white pants, and there's a cut and miss by the left-handed hitting Spangenberg. And the count jumps to 0-2. The excitement at game time feels as refreshing and delicious as Stella Rosa wines. Time to celebrate. Find Stella Rosa wines at Angel Stadium and your favorite retailer. And that pitch just missed, a little bit low. Our game time temperature today is 64 degrees. And first pitch right around 12:08 Pacific time. And there's one that's fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. So the count is holding. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dimensions here at Tempe Diablo. It's 340 down the left field side, 360 down the right field corner, 420 in dead center, and the alley's 400 feet in left center and right center field. Next pitch. That's low and inside, and the count now level. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Spangenberg. He was in 14 games last year for the Padres. He's a former first-round pick of San Diego, now 25 years old. Here's the 2-2, and a cut and a miss. His helmet comes flying off his head, and a strikeout for J.C. Ramirez to start off today's game.
He can amp it up there to the mid to the upper 90s. Saw him hit triple digits a couple of times last year, and so far nice and loose. Talking to J.C. before the game, he goes, what I want to do is just concentrate on Carlos's glove and try to throw right through it.
So the batter now is Eric Ibar, the former Angel who split time between the Braves and the Tigers a year ago. He's swinging at the first pitch and fouls that one off. On the first base side, 0-1 on Ibar. 243 batting average a year ago for the switch hitter. Ibar is now 33 years old. And he has a legitimate shot to be an everyday shortstop for San Diego. Here's the pitch. This is an easy bouncer hit right to second, right at Danny Espinosa. It'll get Ibar by plenty, and that's the second out. 2 up, 2 away. And Will Myers will be the next batter.
The man with a beard. Second batter gets that one out of the way. Danny Espinosa, welcome. And he's so happy to be right next to Simba. Boy, these two could be electric. Just a highlight reel. Get ready for that. Because Espinosa, highly rated shortstop last year for the Washington Nationals, and quite happy to be next to Anderton Simmons. Quite a combo.
So here's Will Myers, right-handed batter, and the first pitch. That one is taken for a called strike. Myers was an all-star for the first time in his career a year ago. He hit .259. That real all-star-like batting average, but he did hit 28 homers. He drove in 94 runs. And there's a pitch on the outside corner. It's a called strike.
And for a guy that projected to be a superstar as an outfielder because his multi-tools, became an all-star as a first baseman.
Yep. So he's deep in the hole, is Myers. Here's the 0-2 from Ramirez, and that one is low, smothered by the catcher Carlos Perez. Around the infield, Luis Valbuena plays first. Danny Espinosa, the second baseman. Yunel Escobar getting his first start in the Cactus League at third. Andrelton Simmons, who's played in all 3 games now, at short. Outfield, Cameron Maben in left, Mike Trout in center, Cole Calhoun in right. Carlos Perez is catching. C.J. Cron, the DH, as Myers swings late and fouls that one off on the right side, backing out of play. This top of the first inning, it's being brought to you today by Rennick Subaru. For Subaru, think Rennick first. Rennick, Subaru.com. So 1-2 on Myers, who was nearly a 30-30 guy last year in the National League. He ended up with 28 homers and 28 stolen bases, and he takes that pitch. Boy, that looked good from where we are, but it's called a ball by the home plate umpire, young umpire Travis Eggert.
A couple of pitches already where you see the whole infield starting to move around, thinking it was strike 3. As young umpire Travis Eggert gets his work in and some reps.
Next pitch, that's bounce foul. The rest of the umpires, and we have a 4-man crew on the bases. The umpires will be alternating spots during the course of the game. Bill Miller, Dan Bellino, and also Mike Casiopo. 2-2 is the count. No score, just underway, top of the first, and the next delivery, it's tipped foul back behind the plate.
JC Ramirez, 4-seam and 2-seam fastball. He's got a very good sinker. He's been working on that plenty in the offseason and coming into camp. A curveball, as Charles Nagy, the pitching coach, told us about before the game, implementing a curveball now, and of course a very hard cut fastball combined with a slider.
Here's the next delivery, and this is another bouncer foul on that left side. So pretty good battle going on here, Myers and Ramirez.
And keep an eye on Ramirez on one thing that he really is trying to just make sure it's fluid all throughout his delivery and not to have a pause when he's trying to get a better feel for his body when he's throwing that breaking ball. That's a good way to tip it to these big league hitters that are unforgiving.
And on the next delivery, it's another borderline pitch that goes against Ramirez. He thought he had him struck out again. So full count. Right now, you would have to say the young umpire Eggert behind the plate. Travis Eggert, hitter's up. There's a swing and a miss at a high fastball, and down on strikes goes Myers. So Ramirez ends up getting a strikeout after all, but he really had to earn it. Strikes out a pair in the inning. We're scoreless after a half inning here in Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. inning we go, and Yunel Escobar, the Angels leadoff man, getting ready for his first at bat this spring. He takes the first pitch from the right-hander Tyrell Jenkins high and away, and the count 1 ball, no strikes. Jenkins is a slender right-hander, goes about 6'4", 180 pounds. And he's moved around a little bit in his brief major league career. He's been with several different organizations. He pitched in the big leagues last year for the Atlanta Braves. Here's the next delivery, and it's hit right to short. Ibar there for the Padres will throw out Escobar, and that's out number 1.
Well, we've seen that posture before. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. Is it Eric Ibar? Got his feet set, got his right foot set, as he's known to do so well. And for Eric Ibar, too, this is an important spring. I mean, as important as he's ever had in his big league career after a very down year. Combined last year with Atlanta and Detroit.
So here's Cole Calhoun, who goes after the first pitch and hits an easy one-hopper to the second baseman, Zwahe, and he will throw to Myers, and 2 quick outs, couple of ground ball outs here against the Angels. And Mike Trout, the reigning MVP in the American League, gets ready for his first at bat this spring. Trout, a .315 batting average a year ago, 29 homers, 100 runs batted in. He set a number of career highs a year ago in winning his second MVP award. Career highs in runs scored, walks on base percentage, tied a career high as far as games played. Missed only 3 games last year. Takes that pitch on the outside corner. That's in there for a called strike.
Great to see that joy once again. Man enjoys playing the game of baseball, and it's easy to see that.
Next delivery on Trout. That one is outside. So it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Trout 116 walks a year ago, and that on base percentage last season, career best, as I mentioned, 441 on base percentage.
Take him for his word. When he sets himself on improving on something, he usually goes out there and gets it done.
So Jenkins is ready, and the next pitch, and that one missed a little bit inside.
And Mike Trout has been talking here in spring about how fun the outfield could be with a company he has, of course, in his big buddy Cole Calhoun, but also in Revere and Maben playing next to him in left field.
And he takes that one a little bit high, and he has a 2-out walk. So Trout on base, his first at bat this spring, and now we'll see what Valbuena can do. He's batting cleanup today, playing first base.
It's nothing new for Mike Trout. Discipline. Seems like we're watching an at bat in the middle of July. Laying up some tough pitches just off the edges. And as much as it is important for the Angels to set the table up for Trout, he does a great job setting the table up for the guys following him.
See if Trout might be on the move over there at first base. Jenkins comes in, and the first pitch is high on Valbuena. Mentioned Jenkins and the fact that he's a guy who's traveled around a bit in a brief time. Former first-round pick of the Cardinals back in 2010. He's also been in the Braves organization, the Rangers organization, the Reds organization, and now in the Padres organization. And this is a former first-round pick.
Very animated young man out there. When he took the mound, he sprinted to the mound. Got the look with the socks and the pants. Little old style, little oil can Boyd out there. And just as happy to be on the field and animated.
Here's the 2-0. That's a shot, but right at the second baseman. A low liner caught by Zwahe, and that's how the inning will end. Valbuena retired on the liner, and that's it for the Angels here in the first. Second inning is next. No score here at Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So we get set to go to the second. No score. Good first inning for J.C. Ramirez. He retired 3 in a row. They didn't get the ball out of the infield against him, and he had a pair of strikeouts. So he'll face Hunter Renfroe. Young player, 25 years old. Spent some time with the Padres a year ago. Had big power numbers last year in the minors. In AAA last year, 30 home runs, 105 runs batted in, and he hit 4 home runs in only 11 games last year with San Diego. First pitch, takes it for a ball. It's 1-0.
Well, Terry, and according to manager Andy Green, outfield's wide open right now between Renfroe himself and a few other candidates.
There's a fastball. It's inside for a ball.
Among them, Travis Jankowski, who can really run. Manuel Margot, Alex Dickerson. It seems like the whole roster is up for grabs. There are very few locked up spots here with the Padres going into 2017.
Yeah, there's one that's fouled back. There's not a lot of big name players on this San Diego club at all. And then you look at their starting pitching, and of course, for any team to be successful, you have to have at least decent starting pitching, and you're certainly striving for better than that. Here's the pitch, and that one is low. And if you look at the Padres rotation, I don't know that there's a true number 1. And when you look at their rotation, projected rotation for this season, 2 of those starters in the rotation were in the Angels rotation last year, Weaver and Chacin. Here's the 3-1. And that one will miss low and away, ball 4. So Renfroe has a leadoff walk. So the batter will be Carlos Azuaje.
J.C. Ramirez with the Angels last year when he came over from Cincinnati. 46 and a third innings for the Angels. ERA of 2.91. 31 strikeouts in 46 and a third innings. 13 walks, and certainly took hard in the plate so well. The things that Charles Nagy implemented with his delivery and cleaning it up, finishing off his pitches, implementing secondary pitches. Because of course, he had the reputation of just being wild and all over the place. But we saw a guy that periodically, as the year progressed, just got better in getting ahead and finishing off hitters. And he has the ability, of course, Terry, pardon me, to go more than 1 inning, which is an asset to anybody.
Yeah, the Angels would like to see Ramirez compete for that 5th spot in the rotation this spring. We'll see how it plays out. This is a pitch that kind of gave Carlos Perez a little trouble. Popped off his mid. He quickly retrieves it. No advancement by the base runner Renfroe. Doesn't have a whole lot of speed.
Carlos has had trouble catching a couple of the sinkers. His fastball way down in the zone, trying to throw way too hard.
So it's 2 balls and no strikes on Carlos Azuaje, and he grounds one through the right side in between Espinosa and Valbuena, and that'll get the runner all the way to third base. And then on a throw back to first, rounding the bag and getting caught trying to get back will be Azuaje.
There's Simba at it again. He just can never fall asleep as a base runner when Andrelton Simmons is on that field, because he will find a way to try to get the out, and a lot of times he'll surprise a lot of people like he just did to Azuaje and get him out. It's just playing the game right and not giving up on anything. A lot of guys take the ball, take the lob, just give it back to the pitcher. Not with Andrelton Simmons, man. You have to be even more aware as a fielder somewhere where the ball might find you with that strong arm.
So the Angels will bring the infield in. 1 out, runner at third. There's a bouncer foul on the left side off the bat of catcher Austin Hedges.
Think about that whole play, Terry. The awareness from Simmons, how that changes the complexion of the inning immediately. Instead of first and third, nobody out, you have man at third, infield in.
Hedges, who digs in, has ties to South Orange County, and the pitch, that one is low, smothered nicely by the catcher Carlos Perez. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Austin Hedges, a 2nd-round pick of the Padres back in 2011. He went to J. Serra High School. San Juan Capistrano, his high school baseball coach. Brent Kay, who's the brother of Angels PR whiz Eric Kay.
Our good buddy Socio Ike.
Here's the pitch, and that one is low. Another good block by Perez. Ramirez has bounced a few in here in the first couple of innings, and Carlos Perez getting a workout, doing a good job with some stops.
Terrible with Derek Norris getting traded to the Nationals. Well, it's Hedges' job.
And now Derek Norris is wondering if he might get traded from the Nationals.
No kidding.
After they signed Matt Wieters. Here's a little pickoff toss over to third base. The runner wasn't very far off the bag. Hunter Renfroe.
It's one of my favorite plays right there. Why? Just have to work on it.
So 2-1 is the count, and the next delivery, and that one is inside on Hedges, who had a big season a year ago in AAA. He hit .326. Had 21 homers, over 80 runs batted him, but he has not hit much at all at the major league level. And in 8 games last year, he hit just .125 with the Padres. He was with them in 2015 as well, struggled with the bat. Chops that one foul, and the count full 3 balls and 2 strikes.
If you're a young player like Hedges and Renfroe and Jankowski's and so many of these young players they have on the verge, Harry, this is the right place to be. The opportunity is right there in front of you.
And here's the 3-2 payoff pitch. It's bounced right by the pitcher, and it gets past Ramirez into center field for an RBI hit. Boy, Ramirez stops that ball. They don't score a run, and he gets the out at first. He tried to make a play on it, but somehow it eluded him, and it's an RBI single for Hedges. 1-0 San Diego.
It's a great job as he adjusted his swing from being a little bit too pull happy, thinking about getting out early because of the velocity of Ramirez, to shortening it down and just going out there thinking big part of the field through the middle, and gets the job done.
So at the plate now is Colin Cowgill, former Angel, who was with the Indians for a brief time last year, spent most of last season in AAA. Cowgill parts of 3 seasons with the Angels, and the pitch, and he takes on the outside corner, and Ramirez moves in front 0-2.
At one point, a very valuable piece for Mike Scioscia. Very strong arm. And there's many times a few years ago Mike Scioscia used him as a very reliable leadoff hitter.
And the next delivery, here's a swing and a foul tip. That one is held by Perez. It'll go down as a strikeout. Cowgill is set down. 3rd strikeout today for Ramirez. 2nd out in the inning. And the batter will be Jabari Blash.
Nice 2-seamer running in on Cowgill again, where Carlos Perez had a little bit of trouble getting it into the web, and Ramirez now at 35 pitches.
Here's the first one on Blash, and he fouls that one back and out of play. San Diego has scored first today. Run here in the 2nd.
Right back to the basics. Padres are on the board because of a leadoff walk.
Here's the 0-1, and a breaking ball misses low and away. Blash spent a little bit of time last year with the Padres. 38 games, hit just .169. The rest of the time in AAA a year ago. He was in the Mariners organization for a while. He takes that pitch low and away. Blash has had some solid power numbers in the minors. In fact, he hit 32 home runs a couple years ago between AA and AAA. He's a big guy. He goes about 6'5". Here's the next pitch, and he chops it on the third base side, a foul ball. Glenn Hoffman scooping that one up, third base coach.
He's a great baseball man right there. Former Major League manager himself.
Blash backs out of the box. Time is called.
Also, Mark McGuire on this staff is the bench coach for the Padres. Young manager Andy Green. Big Mac. Great mentor still to this day to Albert Pujols.
Next delivery, that one's a little bit low. And so the count runs full, 3-2. You mentioned Andy Green, the second-year manager of the Padres. He's only 39 years old. He was a third base coach just a few years ago here in Arizona with the D-backs. And he has a tough assignment here. They won only 68 games a year ago. Some people wonder if they're any better this year. There's a pitch that's low and in on the 3-2, and that's ball 4.
That's too many pitches, and here comes Mike.
And we are going to have a pitching change, it appears. So that will be it for Ramirez. He ended up facing 5 batters here in the inning. 2 of them had hits, 2 of them walked. Angels did get an out on the bases. So Mike Scioscia will take the baseball, and we will take a break. Break of the action, a pitching change coming up. It's 1-0 San Diego here with 2 outs in the second. Pitching change coming up on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels have made a pitching change, and a young pitcher up from minor league camp, Adam Hofackett, is on the mound. Hofackett was 2-3 last year in the minors, ERA of 4.69, and he averaged better than a strikeout an inning pitched a year ago. So he will come in, and if things work well for him, he might just face 1 batter, and that's the guy he's facing here. If he gets Betancourt out, probably the only batter he'll face today. Here's the pitch, and the first delivery, it's low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes. 2 outs. They have runners at first and second. A run in. And the next delivery on Betancourt. He chops the ball right to short. Should be an easy play. Flipped by Simmons over to Espinosa, and they force out Flesh, and the inning is over on the fielder's choice. Good job by Hofackett. He comes in and gets the final out here in the second. We're headed to the bottom of the inning, and it's 1-0 Padres on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. second inning, and C.J. Cron leads it off. First pitch was a ball on him, and this one is chopped right on the right side of the infield. It's fielded by the first baseman Myers. He flips to the pitcher Jenkins, hustling over to cover first base, and Cron is retired. Quick out to start things off in the bottom of the second inning. The Angels are down 1-0, and as we get ready for another Angel to bat for the first time this spring, Cameron Maben getting ready to dig in, right-handed batter. We also want to welcome our viewers today on Fox Sports San Diego. Got to realize now we're the Angel announcers, but we'll try to be as impartial as possible here today.
I think we are so far. So quick hello to all of you in San Diego. Fox Sports San Diego does a great job out there with Granny and the rest of the guys.
Yep.
And broadcast team, Marcillo and Willie Scanlon and Sweeney. Nice job, guys.
Yep.
So, welcome aboard to all those great fans, and hopefully a better year for the Pods. One of my teams, by the way.
That's right, Jose. Spent a little time in that organization. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cameron Maben, and he takes that one on the outside part of the plate for a called strike. Maben hit .315 a year ago with the Tigers, a career high for him. Angels got him in the offseason from Detroit, and he takes that one a little bit low. 2-2 the count. Left field has been such a troubled position for the Angels the last few years. We were spoiled so many years with Garrett Anderson manning that spot for the Angels.
Is that something?
Yeah.
Huh?
Wow. And then the last couple of years, that has been a black hole for the Angels out there in left field. And hopefully this season, 2017 season, things are going to run a lot smoother at that spot.
We have 2 solid guys, Maben and Ben Revere.
3-2 pitch chopped on the left side. Maben can run. The long throw across the diamond will nip him as Spangenberg fires over to Myers, and they get Maben for the second out.
It's a great job by Corey Spanger, a guy that very happy to just be on the field again after missing 5.5 months last season with a torn left quad. And he's vying for a spot at second base, third base, but certainly he brings a lot of fire. And in fact, he was a starting second baseman last year for the Padres. The April injury just set him back for most of the season. So,
yeah, he never returned after that injury last April. Speaking of Spangenberg, here's one that Danny Espinosa was taking, and the ball got a piece of the catcher Austin Hedges, and he's shaken up a little bit. They're going to come out and take a look at him.
Ball got the bat and got a piece of Hedges, and certainly that's what's going to hurt for a while.
That one got him in the groin area.
Andy Green trying to keep it light. Yeah, should be on 1 count right here with the foul ball.
Yep, he did
Espinosa.
tip that one, no doubt about it. The scoreboard has the count 1 ball, no strikes, but it should be 0-1. And Hedges just trying to
let him breathe.
Yeah, that's right.
Give him some time.
Shake off the stars right now.
Everybody knows what's up. Telling Danny Espinosa, just please don't do it again.
So 0-1 is the count.
Where's Eric Kay at?
I've seen him running around up in the press box today.
Watching very closely his young man behind the plate. A lot of talent.
1 ball, 1 strike is the count here on Espinosa. .209 batting average last year, but 24 homers, 72 runs batted in. He fouls that one off on the left side. That's going to get back and out of play.
It's fun to watch Danny Espinosa taking BP because it is lift and separate. Let me tell you, he can put on a show from both sides of the plate. 24 home runs is no accident. He will go out there and find some pitches and drive the ball out of the ballpark.
Next pitch on the switch hitter. He takes that one inside.
Let's see how it translates playing half of the games at the Big A. But, Terry, one thing is, he also brings the speed dimension. And he's told Mike Scioscia, hey, I want to run. I want to run more. Why not?
There's a pitch he takes on a 2-2. It froze him, struck him out looking, and that's how the inning will end. So a couple of strong innings for Jenkins of San Diego. We've completed 2 innings here in Tempe. It's 1-0 Padres on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. of the third in Tempe, 1-0 San Diego. Nate Smith is going to be the third pitcher for the Angels. So Hofackett ended up getting the final out last inning in relief of Ramirez.
Did a good job. Kid from Riverside comes in, gets the out. Cal Baptist University. Played at Burlington and Inland Empire last year. Good for him.
He's from Corona, isn't he? Adam Hofackett, if I'm not mistaken.
And we see the rain coming in.
Yep.
You can smell it.
Yep. Bit of a drizzle now here at the ballpark. At the plate is Corey Spangenberg. 1-0 pitch miss from Nate Smith. 2 balls and no strikes.
It's one beautiful smell here in spring training.
Lefty-lefty matchup. That one is cut on, fouled off on the left side, backing out of play. Nate Smith spent all of last season at AAA Salt Lake, 26 starts, 8-9 record, 4.61 ERA. Pitched just over 150 innings last year for the Bees. And the pitch, bouncer hit on the first base side, fair ball right at Valbuena, and he fields it by the bag, solos to the bag for the unassisted out. One gone. Here's Eric Ibar.
Well, there's plenty of talk of Nate Smith there. He was on the verge of getting called up. Put together a solid season, a lot of progress, and he looked beyond the numbers and how happy the Angels organization was with Smith and was able to build off of every single outing. And just when he was about to get called up, suffered a setback because of the issue with that elbow.
Had some soreness in early September as far as his left elbow, so he's yet to pitch in a regular season big league game, yet to have a call up. Here's the 0-1 on Ibar, and he was fooled on that pitch.
That's one thing Smith does possess, a very good changeup, and a lot of deception because it's all in one fluid movement towards home plate.
So Nate Smith way in front on Ibar, and here's the 0-2. He misses low and away. 1-2 the count. Nate Smith, good control, finesse lefty. Fastball top out around 92. Jose mentioned that excellent changeup, probably his best pitch. And the next delivery, Ibar with a shallow fly ball to left field. Maben is waiting on it, and he'll put that one away. Just easy play. That's the second out. And the batter now will be Will Myers.
Ibar making his way back to a place he called home for so many years. We get back on track, and one of his good buddies in this ball club is Albert Pujols, who says, I'm going to be watching you. Pujols sticking around in the Angels dugout.
Here's the first one on Myers. He checks, and that one is a little bit low for a ball. Well, with the threat of rain today and temperature still a little bit cooler than normal here in the valley, the crowd a little bit lower than the normal attendance here at Tempe Diablo, and you can't blame them. It's a damp day. The Angels are slated to play tomorrow in Mesa against the Cubs at Sloan Park. The weather forecast not real good tomorrow. We've heard conflicting reports. There's going to be some rain tomorrow. It's just a matter of how long it hangs around. Hopefully it'll be gone by game time tomorrow.
What we know is every manager here in the Valley of the Sun is making plans, contingency plans on if it's going to be a bullpen cage day or going to be able to get out there on the field.
On a 3-0 pitch, it misses to Will Myers, so he is on with a 2-out walk. And here is Hunter Renfroe.
Great job, Will Myers, as you mentioned, multi-talented player. Put it all together last year, 28 out of the park, 28 stolen bases. Big lead at first base, too.
And he can run it. He's on the move, and the pitch is missed. The throw down to second, bounces in, and the tag a little bit late by Espinosa. So that's a stolen base for Myers. We talked about him in the first inning. He had 28 steals last year. He can run.
That's great. Great instinct. You know, he went out there, no hesitation whatsoever. Perhaps does not even have a lot of information on Smith. Took the big lead, and first move, I'm going. Made it very challenging for Carlos Pettis to throw him out, knowing that he was going on the first move.
So now a runner in scoring position with 2 outs. 0-1 pitch on Renfroe. Hard hit but foul on the ground, third base side.
And the other thing the Padres are not going to do, knowing that Myers can help them win games in so many ways, is to just put the brakes on and saying, well, now that, you know, you are the middle of the order type hitter for us, and we signed to this big deal. His game will not change. It's not going to be told to put the brakes on stealing bases, which is great. Let him play his game.
The pitch low, blocked by Perez. Well, the thing about the Padres, they're a bit challenged offensively. They were dead last in the majors in team batting last year. As a team, they hit only .235. Look across the board, numbers were not good on the offensive side. Next to last in the majors in total bases. Also dead last in on-base percentage in the majors a year ago. So they have to try and manufacture things. Here's a bouncing ball by the mound out near short. Simba throws. Andrelton Simmons, the Angels shortstop, gets the out at first, and that will end the inning. Ends on a 6-3 ground out. Renfroe is retired. So are the Padres here in the top of the third. The bottom of the inning is coming up. San Diego leading the Angels at the moment 1-0 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. New pitcher for the Padres, Walter Lockett, former fourth-round pick of San Diego back in 2012, will take over. So they got 2 good innings out of Tyrell Jenkins. He did not allow a hit. He retired 6 of the 7 he faced. He had 1 walk and 1 strikeout in a couple of shutout innings. And Lockett's first delivery here on Carlos Perez missed. Right-hander ready, and the next delivery, it's hit in the air to straightaway center field, not very deep at all, right at Cowgill, and he'll make the catch on that one for the first out.
Yeah, Jenkins, very fine job through those 2 innings. 2-out walk to Mike Trout in the first inning, and came back and locked it down with Valbuena. 1-2-3 in the second. Very economical, and Jenkins showing the Padres and Andy Green reason to be hopeful that he continue to progress. And I also liked how fast he was there on the mound, quick paced.
Lockett's pitch, and that one is inside. He pitched at 3 different levels in the Padres organization a year ago. AAA El Paso, he was in AA and A-ball. Actually pitched for 2 different Class A clubs a year ago. There's a ground ball hit the Ibar. He fumbles it and can't recover and has no throws. So Simmons is on. And the Angels have a 1-out base runner, and they're going to give Simmons a hit on that.
That's an E6 in any league. That's an error. Ibar just got caught in between hops. And this is where Ibar has had a little bit of trouble last season and a half, I'm going to say, and a little bit heavy-legged where he just is not able to get that first quick step out of the way, because we know when he plays high caliber, Terry, is at one point amongst the best in the American League.
So the batter now is Escobar. There's a cut and a miss. Boy, when they put error on the board there on that ball.
They put hit first, you said, right?
Right. They ended up giving him a hit. I looked at that. I felt like Warren Beatty when he opened up that envelope yesterday at the Oscars, for crying out loud. I'm thinking, this can't be right.
What a moment. At least you didn't pass it on to me, right?
No.
I didn't read it.
No. I won't throw you under the bus, Jose. I can tell you that. Here's a fly ball lifted into center field. This is a routine play for Cowgill. Tagging at first base is Simmons. Gets to second. Is he safe? Yes, he is. So on the fly out to center, gutsy move by Andrelton Simmons. He does tag in advance.
So you play the game, and that dimension of speed could change an inning, a game, a season for you. And Andrelton Simmons, as aware as he is on the field with the glove, of course, he does it also on the base pass. He knows it's a wet track out there right now. It's going to be hard to get the baseball, set your feet as an outfielder, and get a certain throw and an accurate throw in. Very close play, but they paid off.
Yep. A hit here could tie up the ball game. 2 outs. Calhoun is the batter, and he takes that pitch for a called strike. Cole Calhoun signed a new deal with the Angels this offseason, a 3-year contract with a club option in 2020.
I like the way he was put together, because he originally agreed to a 1-year deal. So it's like, okay, we got arbitration out of the way. How about reward you for more?
And he lines this one into right field, and he is going to tie up the ball game with a single in the right. Simmons will score. Boy, that tag up on the fly out by Simmons proves big as far as that run scoring. Cole Calhoun's first hit this spring drives in a run, and we're tied at 1.
That's what it does for you right there. Instead of that man at first base and maybe even first and third right now, there he is on the board. Tied ball game. Rojo gets the Angels going, and he has been clutch every single year he's been on that field for the big league team.
So here is Mike Trout.
On-base percentage last year for Cole Calhoun went from .308 the previous season to .348 last season. His walks from 45 walks in 2015 to 67 last season. And with less home runs, it didn't mean that his slugging percentage went down and actually went up with more doubles by Cole Calhoun. Solid year.
1-0 on Trout. That's a called strike. He thought about chasing that pitch. It just was in there at the knees. Yeah, Cole Calhoun last year, career highs in walks, on base percentage, doubles, runs, and extra base hits.
He's just a solid ball player.
Yeah.
Gamer.
There's a pitch high, snap throw to first, and he is out.
Got him.
Well, Hedges picks off Calhoun, who got away a little bit too far off the base at first, and the inning is over. That play will go 2-3 to end the inning, but the Angels do tie it up, and we have completed 3. The 4th inning is coming up. It's 1-1 Angels and Padres on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Top of the fourth we go. 1-1 ball game. Angels and the San Diego Padres. And the first pitch, that one is a little bit inside on the leadoff batter this inning for San Diego, Carlos Azuaje. He singled in there, a lone run back in the top of the second. And the next pitch, he cuts it. That one fouls it back just to our left out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. And here's the pitch. That's a little bit low. Good breaking ball. Just missed. Padres, a team, we talked about it earlier. They have really struggled in recent seasons. They've used 84 players the last 2 years. And the pitch grounded on the right side. Ball knocked off the glove of Espinosa. By the time he recovers, he throws late. And that figures to be an error on Danny Espinosa. I don't know if that ball took a funny hop on him at the last moment, but it looked like it was going to be the easiest of plays, but he booted it, and Hedges will be the next hitter.
Just tells you there's no easy play in baseball. He had it right in front of him. Very reliable shortstop last year. He's played, actually has started more games at second base than at shortstop in the big leagues. Seems like Danny's timing on this one was just a little bit off. Feet going one way and the hands going the other way.
The toss over to first.
And who says there's no timing involved in fielding? Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah.
First game out of the gate.
Espinosa, when he played second base back in the 2015 season for Washington, he had 1 error at that position in 81 games. But he's had one here today in his first game this spring. We're only in the 4th inning.
Been watching Espinosa and Anderson Simmons take ground balls together. Pre-game, backfields, during their double play drills, and it is absolutely a magic flow, a highlight show.
Hedges, the catcher who's had a single, is at the plate. Count 0-1 on him as Smith delivers. Swing and a miss. Throw to first. Snap throw. Just back to the bag goes Azuaje. He can run a little bit. He had 10 stolen bases last year in the minors.
Quickly learn the Padres will run first move, as Myers did against Smith last inning.
Here's the next pitch, and reaching at that one is Hedges. He fouls it off on the right side, backing out of play. So the count is no balls and 2 strikes. Nate Smith is the 3rd pitcher of the day for the Angels. Angels also figure to use Mike Morin today. There's a pitch that's low. Angels have some other pitchers up from minor league camp who could see some action. Chris O'Grady, a left-hander, is here today.
And Terry is a pretty crowded group of reliable relievers that Mike Socha says he's going to have a tough time at the end. He hopes so, making decisions.
One fouled back just to our right, backing out of play.
Think about Bailey, Street, Pedroia. You got Ramirez, you got Alvarez, you got Morin. There's a chance that somebody that's not going to be your number 5 starter is going to end up also in the bullpen. It's fairly crowded.
Good competition in the Angels bullpen department. There's a pitch that's low. Something we have very rarely seen here at Tempe Diablo Stadium over the years. The lights have been turned on.
I think the last time you and I saw that was a Notre Dame baseball game here one night we came to watch. And in that game was Matthew Socha.
There's a pickoff toss to first. Runner goes. Relay up to second. Waiting with the tag is Simmons. And out trying to move up a base is the base runner, Azuaje. He's picked off. That one will go 1-3-6. First out in the inning.
Azuaje has not been too fleet-footed over on the bases today. Second time he's been thrown out. One by Anderson Simmons on a back play, and now at first base where he guessed wrong.
Yeah, usually you hear in baseball, Jose, if you get on base, good things happen.
Depends on who you are.
He's the exception to the rule today.
Oh, the young man has speed. You know what? He's going to go out there and test to see what's going on.
Sure.
There's a lot to be learned from those mistakes, Terry, as we know very well.
Here's a 3-2 pitch lifted in the air into center field. Trout is going back, still going back. That ball's over his head, and the ball's off the wall. And cruising into second base with a one-out double is Hedges. So that pickoff play looms big here in this inning now. Hedges with his second hit. Cowgill, former Angel, will be the next batter.
Hedges having a good day. Right through the box, first time up. Got the RBI. Went at third, infield in. Now goes right center field with some authority there. He's looked very good behind the plate, too. Where's Uncle Eric K?
So here is Cowgill batting and the pitch. And that one is a cut and a miss. Cowgill, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Never forget when Cowgill was with the Angels. It was back in July of 2014. A scary moment for him as that one is fouled off on the right side. Cowgill fractured his nose and his right thumb during an at-bat.
That's right, trying to bunt against the Texas Rangers. Scary moment.
Yeah. No balls and 2 strikes to count. And here's the next delivery, and that's a breaking ball that misses low. We'll check out some action around spring training for you in just a moment. Cactus League and also in the Grapefruit League in Florida. Brewers and Rangers no score. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning. A's and Giants, it's 4-0 Oakland in the 3rd. Rangers have a 2-0 lead in the 4th inning against the Indians. Reds and D-backs are going to the bottom of the 3rd. Arizona leads that game 2-0. And we do have some other scores to mention as far as the Grapefruit League in Florida in just a moment. 2-2, and there's a cut and a miss, and down on strikes goes Cowgill. Second time he has struck out. That one almost brought him down to his knees chasing that pitch. That's out number 2 in the inning. First strikeout in the ball game for Nate Smith. And here is Jabari Blash in the Grapefruit League. They're going to the 9th inning. Tigers lead the Braves 10-6. Bottom of the 8th inning. Minnesota on top of the Miami Marlins 8-6. Cards lead the Red Sox 7-2. That game is in the bottom of the 9th. There's a pitch that misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Also, as far as action in the Grapefruit League, Phillies lost to the Rays. The final was 7-2. Yankees beat the Orioles 4-1. Pirates a 2-1 win against Toronto. Astros over the Mets 5-2. Cardinals beat the Nationals 5-4. A few more games in the Cactus League today. Royals up 11-3 on the Mariners in the 6th. Cubs have a 1-0 lead against the White Sox in the 3rd. Dodgers trailing the Rockies 1-0. That's in the bottom of the 3rd inning. In our game, 1-1 in the 4th. And a swing and a miss by Blash. So the count 1-2.
Well, Nate Smith showing part of his strength is to have hitters chase outside the zone, which is key for him. We've seen it here a couple times, but he cannot live upstairs where Blash has missed that pitch.
So 2 strikes to count on Blash, 2 outs in the inning, and here's the 1-2 delivery, and he just tips that one foul. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network.
2017 Angels Spring Training Baseball. Live on Angels Radio AM 830 KLAA.
Orange County, Los Angeles, and Inland Empire.
Terry Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer-engineer Jorge Sevilla with you here from Tempe Diablo Stadium. 1-2 delivery, and that one missed inside. Boy, the close pitches have not gone the pitcher's way today.
That's for sure. Young umpire Travis Eggert make it a little bit tougher.
Yep.
And those pitches continue to bounce up now. 38 for Nate Smith.
Yeah, the Angels would like to see him close out this inning, but you don't want to stretch him much more. And there's an off-speed pitch that missed outside, so the count full 3-2.
As they were forced to stretch out J.C. Ramirez, he went 1 2/3. Ended up making 41 pitches. Like so, just trying to keep everybody around the 30 to 35 mark at the most at this point.
Yeah, if Nate Smith doesn't get Blash, we might see the Angels go to the bullpen. So we'll see what breaks on the 3-2 delivery. It's on its way, and it's fouled off on the right side, backing out of play.
That's a pretty good swing. Looking off speed, Demario Blash, learning, of course. It's not going to be an automatic fastball in this situation unless he's trying to get him to back off the plate. Maybe with a cut fastball, but did a good job. He's just guessing what the out pitch might be.
So 3-2, another payoff delivery, and another foul ball right back to the screen behind home. Tomorrow, when the Angels are scheduled to take on the Chicago Cubs, Angels will be back on the road tomorrow, and getting the start in that ball game for the Angels will be Manny Banuelos, left-hander. There's one foul back behind the plate. Last season, Banuelos was in the Reds organization. Mexican native. He also was in the Braves system. And for a number of years in the Yankees organization.
Well known to Billy Epler. Banuelos also get a new start here with the Angels.
On a 3-2 off-speed delivery, a check swing going around is Blash. Another strikeout for Smith, and the inning comes to an end. The pair of them in the inning, and that'll do it here for San Diego in the fourth. No runs. They had a double in the inning, an Angel error, and they leave one runner on base. Bottom of the fourth is coming up. It's a 1-1 game. Angels and Padres on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Trout will lead things off as the Angels get set to bat. Bottom of the fourth inning in a 1-1 ball game. New pitcher for San Diego is Miguel Diaz. Right-hander's first delivery, and Trout hits a high pop on the first base side. Chasing after it is Myers, and he's going to run out of room. Ends up landing around the second row out of play on the first base side. Trout walked his first time up.
Miguel Diaz, part of a players. They were Rule 5 picks by the Padres, and they think he's got a good chance of staying with them. This right-hander.
Rule 5 player taken from the Brewers system.
You can see why. There's the arm. Still, of course, trying to polish up, put together all the tools with some command and implementing and developing secondary pitches.
There's the next delivery. That one is inside. Diaz was only 1-8 last year in the minors with a 3.71 ERA. Was used as a reliever and a starter, and saw action in A-ball last year. There's a pitch that Trout takes, and Mike hasn't had too many strikes against him today. He walked his first time up. He's worked a 3-1 count here. Here's the pitch, and it's popped up on the first base side again. A foul ball. That one's going to get back and out of play. Diaz kind of moving around in the off season. Mentioned the Rule 5 player. Brewers organization, then Twins organization, and now here he is with the Padres. Infield is back. And we'll see what happens on the payoff pitch. It's on its way to Trout, and he takes that one inside, ball 4. Well, anything tight has gone the hitter's way. Trout has his second walk, a leadoff walk.
Tell you what, each one of those ball 4s had been off speed, just missing off the plate inside. But for Mike Trout, absolutely great approach from pitch number 1 here for him this spring.
So here is Luis Valbuena. Hit the ball hard his first time up and lined it right to the second baseman, Zwahe. He takes ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Luis Valbuena, well known as a dead pull hitter, and he has seen the shift come on him since the very first time he took the field here a couple of days ago against the Brewers. He's lined out a couple times already into that shift.
Here's the next pitch, and he grounds this one sharply, but right at second. Could be 2. Flip to second, relay to first. It is a double play. So both times up today, Valbuena's hit the ball hard to the second baseman. One a liner, that one a hard hit ground ball. They turn a double play, and we get 2 outs. C.J. Cron with that.
Matching up at second base, 2 old buddies as my truck comes in barreling down towards that bag, and Eric Aybar quietly knows there's no other way Mike Trout or any base runner could go but right at the bag. Just threw right over it. No panic, no rush, and completes the double play.
There's the pitch. That one is low and inside.
Terry, what a peace of mind for infielders nowadays. Middle infielders turning double plays. No worries about that runner as much as it used to be in the past and for so many years.
There's Cron taking ball 2. And here's the next pitch. Popped in the air down the right field side. Long run for Renfroe in foul territory, and it's just out of his reach. Back down there to the bleacher area down the right side, out of play.
Right before that pitch, really like what manager Andy Green had implemented. He did a shift based on the count. And when the count reached 2-0, he had the second baseman on the other side of the bag on the pull side for C.J. Cron. And you can see the adjustment here now to the first baseman, Myers, way off that line.
Yeah, he's almost halfway between first and second. There's a ground ball bounced through on the left side out of the reach of Aybar and through into left center. So Cron has a hit. And that is his first of the day. The Angels' third hit in the ballgame.
Considering where Myers was, that ball was hit and he was on a full sprint, as he has to be, to get to first base. I mean, there's a lot of ground to catch up with to make sure you're not a moving target towards your infielders. That was a great hustle.
Yeah,
all
Myers,
the way back. He was hustling all the way back.
Run about 40 feet just to cover the bag, but as it turned out, ball bounced out of Aybar's reach.
Well, at least in my eyes, I haven't seen anybody playing that far off. Other than Mike Napoli, who will do it time and time and time again and do it very well.
Well, I guess if you're Myers over there, you kind of trust his legs a little bit. He's got to be the fastest first baseman in the game.
Boston Red Sox used to put Mike Napoli pretty much over at second base side. Never an issue. And Mike Napoli back in the AL West. Try to keep him quiet against the Angels, please.
Yes. Here's the pitch on Maben, and he ends up taking that pitch for a called strike.
One of our faves, man. Mike Napoli, what a winner he is.
Yeah, Napoli now his third go-around with the Texas Rangers. Diaz with the pitch, and that's a cut and a miss. So Maben has the count go 1-2.
Darren Balsley does such a great job, Balsley, with the pitching coach for the Padres. 14th season as a full-time pitching coach. He's got some young pitchers like Diaz to address to and tend to this spring. Great project for him.
There's the two-strike delivery. That one framed by Hedges, a little bit low and away. So Maben has the count level, 2-2. Cameron Maben, when he was growing up, his favorite player was Juan Pierre. Can see some similarities in their game. Maben a little bit taller than Juan Pierre. There's one fouled off on the right side, backing out of play. Cam Maben 6'3".
He's got it on that. Juan Pierre could steal a base at will. Juan Pierre could bunt at will himself. And he had a nice career.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And the next delivery, it's a number off the end of his bat, a foul ball rolling up the first base side.
Cameron Maben showing some of the Hunter Pence above the knees with those pants right now.
Maben in the past has worn the number 24, and he's done that in honor of Jackie Robinson. 24, of course, the reverse of 42. No one can wear that number, Jackie Robinson's number, anymore in Major League Baseball. But the number 24 taken on the Angels roster by the guy that's on at first base over there right now, C.J. Cron. So Maben wears the number 9 with the Angels, first year with the club. He's worked a full count here against Diaz. We have 2 outs. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's a 1-1 game. Angels and Padres. And here's the payoff. There goes Cron. The pitch is high. Fastball missed, so another walk. Diaz has been aided by the double play, because other than that, he's walked 2 and given up a hit to another batter in this inning. So the Angels have a pair on with a pair out. We'll see what Danny Espinosa can do. He took a called third strike his first time up.
You talk about Diaz, who pitched in the A-ball last year, 1-8 record, 3.71 ERA. But he spent 4 different years at the rookie league level. Think about it, 4 years in rookie ball between the Dominican Summer League Brewers, Arizona Summer League Brewers.
Here's a pitch. That's a little pop on the left side. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Cron was on the move. He'll score. Maben on the move. He goes first to third. Bloop RBI hit for Espinosa. Angels are on top by a 2-1 score.
So a couple of walks here this inning. Angels using that on-base percentage. Even after the double play, Cron keeps it alive, going right through the middle. And Danny Espinosa, as anybody would like to do in spring training, just be a little bit late. Especially anything near your eyes gives you a chance to really gauge and stay inside the baseball, get jammed, and This thing is get Jam to get a base hit, and beyond that, get an RBI. Like we saw Ryan Lamar do yesterday with a couple of big ones.
Batter now is Carlos Perez. A hit could mean another run. Angels up by 1, and the next delivery. That's right in there for a called strike. Perez flied out to center his first time up. That was leading off last inning, the bottom of the 3rd. Diaz with the pitch, and he misses high and outside with that one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Terry, it is Monday. You know what today is, too?
Today is Moda Mondays.
Yes, it is.
I do know what today is.
8 p.m. on Jose Mota 05 Twitter account with Andrew Heaney. Will join us for a few minutes. Angels left-hander. Be answering your questions.
Runner at first goes. Pitch is missed. Now breaking for the plate is Maven. He'll score. So the Angels get a run. Caught in the rundown is Espinosa. They'll tag him out. But the run had come in before the final out was made. And the Angels end up with some aggressive base running there. And will squeak in another run to take a 3-1 lead. Inning ends on the play getting Espinosa between first and second, but he was able to avoid that rundown and enable Maven to score. We've completed 4, and we head to the 5th inning. Angels have a 3-1 lead against San Diego on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
This is Houston's.
Mike Morin will take over out on the mound for the Angels, and he will become the 4th pitcher of the day. He replaces Nate Smith. Smith did a good job. 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, no runs, walked 1, struck out 2. And the first batter Mike Morin will face will be Christian Betancourt, who's the DH today for San Diego.
Well, Terry, going back to the Angels executing base runners pretty active. Mike Scioscia implementing a little first and third, and the Padres not all too happy about how it was defended, especially there with 2 outs and 2 good base runners and not cutting down the distance. So the Angels pretty much steal one there.
Yep. So Andy Green, their manager, walked right into his dugout when the Padre players came off the field, and he was talking to some of their players. He did not like the way they executed that rundown against the Angels, with the Angels sneaking in a run against them. There's a cut and a miss by Betancourt on an 0-1 pitch. The count jumps to 0-2. Mike Morin, who's pitching 60 games for the Angels a year ago, 2-2 record, 4.37 earned run average. Opponents hit 250 against him last year.
Just trying to put it all together against Terry, especially with something moving east-west. He's been a fastball, changeup, predominantly pitcher. Now he needs something to move on the outer half a little bit more to be more consistent. And he knows it. Mike Socha even addressed that first week of camp.
Here's the next delivery. That's low and outside.
There was. Use that slider more often against righties.
Morin fastball, top out around 94. Excellent changeup. That's his out pitch, and he has the slider. He had a very good 2014 season for the Angels. Struggled the following year in 2015, and then last year was certainly better in 2016 than he was the year before, and hoping to get back to that form we saw from him in 2014. So the infield is backed up, and the count is full. We'll see what gives here against Betancourt, and the delivery, and that's a check swing. It's ball 4. So that's the 4th walk allowed by Angels pitching, and Padres have walked 3 Angel batters so far. I mentioned that strike zone is tight today. So here is Spangenberg, the leadoff man. So far today he's gone 0 for 2. He's yet to get the ball out of the infield. Strikeout, ground out. And the left-handed batter cuts at that one and lifts it in the air. A foul ball backing out of play down the left side.
Sure, we're talking about Spangenberg, how important he is to the Padres. And of course, he's got versatility, but, you know, he was expected to get back at some point during last season with a torn left quad, but the recovery aspect was just very slow, suffered a couple of setbacks. And they're happy to just have him back where he belongs on the field. He's quite happy with that, of course.
Here's the next delivery, and that one is lifted in the air into left center field. Maben is circling under. Has an easy play on that one. Makes the catch, and that'll be the first out. Eric Ibar, the next batter. Ibar has grounded out, and he has also flied out today. Former Angel switch hitting Eric Ibar getting ready to dig in. Here's the pitch, and Ibar batting from the left side, cuts and misses that one for strike 1.
One thing about Ibar, looking forward to seeing how his nephew, Wander Samuel Franco, Terry, who is considered the top international prospect, also a shortstop back into the Dominican Republic, see how he develops. 15 years old. He's got some plus tools. They work out together in the offseason. Spent a lot of time in training in the sand on the beach to build the legs, and he's looking forward to see where he lands. It's going to get a hefty signing bonus. His nephew, Wander Samuel Franco.
Next pitch evens up the count, and the count is now 1 ball, 1 strike. Ibar, he was an all-star with the Angels back in 2014. In his only all-star season, and he grounds that one fair out of the reach of Espinosa, the second baseman, into right center field, and they have runners at the corners. So Ibar gets his first hit, and the Padres have something brewing here against Mike Morin. Runners on at first and third, only 1 out. And here's Will Myers, their top hitter.
How many times did Ibar play behind Mike Morin, anticipating fastball or a changeup? He stays right through the box, and that fastball coming in, trying to get some movement down on it, not able to do it. And Eric does a very fine job finishing the swing and not coming up with that front shoulder as he tended to do early in the game.
Myers has a walk, and he's also grounded out. Here's the pitch, and he swings at that one, fouls it straight back behind the plate. No balls and 1 strike. Will Myers, when he was getting his pro career started, and he's a former 3rd-round pick of the Kansas City Royals, he was a catcher. No longer plays that position. Here's the next delivery, and that off-speed pitch was low. The count, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Myers has mighty strong hands and forearms. Doesn't take a whole lot of body to generate the bat speed, the power that he has from every part of the field. And still one of the few guys you'll see in the big leagues without batting gloves. He's got a mighty strong and powerful grip.
There's the 1-1 pitch, and he grounds that one through on the left side for a base hit. RBI single coming in from third base is Betancourt. And that gets the Padres a little bit closer in this ball game. It's now 3-2 Angels. 2 on, runners at first and second, just 1 out. Warren's retired, only 1 of the first 4 that he's faced. Hunter Renfroe, the next batter. Well, you look at the 2 runs that the Padres have scored so far in this ball game, and the 2 runners who came in each had lead-off walks. Renfroe back in the second, and Betancourt, who just scored, led off this 5th inning with a walk.
Yeah, it doesn't matter at what level. We'll say time and time again, it matters.
There goes the runner at second. The ball is lifted in the air into right field. It's a routine play for Cole Calhoun. Will make the catch, and hustling back to second base goes Eric Ibar. So Renfroe retired on a fly ball to right. Second out in the inning. Suaje, the second baseman, will be the next batter.
Nice job. Rojo Cole Calhoun getting behind the baseball. Eric Ibar had attempted to steal third. Got back just in time. Veteran base runner immediately picks up his third base coach Glenn Hoffman and retrieves.
So here is Suaje, who's been on base a couple of times today. He's had an RBI single. He's also reached on an error. He's regarded as one of the better prospects in the Padres organization, and did see a little bit of playing time for San Diego a year ago. Former Red Sox minor leaguer.
Out of Venezuela. He's got some great teachers, among them his manager Andy Green, but also Jan Hervis Solarte, who has become a solid big leaguer for the Padres.
There's a pitch. That's a ball. Throw to second base. It bounces in. Hustling back to the bag goes Eric Ibar.
And Solarte, Terry, among the very few Padres can say they have a locked up spot somewhere as a regular. Not on the lineup today, but boy, he has really become a star caliber player for the organization.
Yeah, it took Solarte a long time to get to the big leagues, but boy, he's turned out to be a solid player, and the Padres certainly happy to have him.
Yeah, now without tragedy, and we feel so bad as to what went on with him at the end of last season. Tragedy in the family.
Yep, and his wife Juliet, only 31 years old, died because of cancer last season. The Solartes have 3 young daughters, and boy, what a year 2016 turned out to be for that household. Solarte's not here today, but he's one of the better players for San Diego. Guy who can play several different infield positions,
and he can drive the baseball.
Yeah,
a lot of energy in that field for them.
2-1 delivery, jammed on. That one was the batter Suaje, and the pitch fouled off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hedges would be up next. Morin here in this inning getting ready for his 20th pitch, so pitches are mounting on him here in the 5th inning. Angels up by a run 3-2, and that one is high, so now it's a full count on Carlos Suaje. See what gives. A walk would load up the bases, and Morin is not going to do that. He's already walked 1 in the inning. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's popped foul on the left side of home plate. It's going to get back to the seats and out of play. And we'll do it again, 3-2. Angels will have another game against the Padres here in Tempe. That'll be next week, next Friday on March the 10th. And the Angels will also play a game against the Padres later on in March at their spring training home in Peoria. Here's the next delivery, and that is a called third strike.
Hey,
Huge high.
that's right.
That the home plate umpire, Travis Eggert, calls a called strike, and that one comes on strike 3 as Wahe and San Diego retired here in the inning. They do get a run. They had 2 hits, a walk, no errors, and they leave a pair. They've stranded 6 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Angels have a 3-2 lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
With
First batter up for the Angels is Carlos Perez. As we get set for the bottom of the 5th inning, and the first pitch, he takes that one a little bit low and away for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. And the next delivery, that is on the outside corner, and that is a called strike. So the count even, it's 1-1. John Edwards is on the mound. He is a right-hander. He replaces Miguel Diaz for San Diego. And the next pitch a little bit low and away, so it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Edwards hoping to open up some eyes here in the Padres camp. He was with the Texas Rangers not too long ago. There's a ground ball that's hit the third right at Spangenberg, and the throw will easily get Perez at first base. There's 1 away.
Ball was hit fairly hard, and I'm sure Carlos said, well, there's a base hit, but once again, it's slight shifting and positioning. A great job by the Padres. Adam Spangenberg take away that hole between short and third, way off the line. He does a fine job to prevent Pettis from being at first base. I like the variables Andy Green has shown in his offensive alignment here today.
Yep. Moves his players around a lot in the infield. There's a pitch that's low.
And once again, Will Myers is a good 40 feet away from the line at first base. That's quite a run.
Yep. Almost halfway between first and second. It would be 45 feet midway point between those 2 bases. And the next delivery, it's a lazy fly ball off the bat of Simmons into shallow right center. Coming in and calling for it, making the grab is Hunter Renfroe. It's the second out. Yanel Escobar will be the next batter.
Don't you have good athletes? You can afford to do that. Have them be challenging, moving around.
Escobar's had an 0 for 2 day, his first game in the Cactus League. Fans, don't forget, join the Angels April 7th and 8th for opening weekend. The Angels take on the Seattle Mariners. Fans in attendance will receive a wall calendar courtesy of U.S. Bank while supplies last. For more info, visit angels.com/promotions. Escobar goes after the first pitch and hits a high pop-up on the left side of the infield. On the dirt, the shortstop Ibar will make the call and catch for the Padres, and the inning ends on that pop-out to the San Diego shortstop. Angels go down quickly and quietly here in the 5th. The 6th inning is coming up. 3-2 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels make wholesale changes as we get set to start off inning number 6 here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. Angel regulars leaving, so the new faces, and there are a lot of them, will start things off on the mound. Osmer Morales is the new pitcher. First time we've seen him this spring, and his first pitch, it's fouled back behind the plate, backing out of play. The new Angels catcher is Jose Urceno. The new first baseman is Jeffrey Marte. Here's the next pitch on Austin Hedges. That's low and outside, 1-1. New second baseman David Fletcher. New third baseman Caleb Cowart. New shortstop Cliff Pennington. New left fielder Eric Young Jr. New center fielder Shane Robinson. New right fielder Michael Hermosillo. And here's a shallow fly ball hit into center field. Coming in hard is Shane Robinson to make the running catch coming in. Makes the grab on that one. Hedges is retired for the first time today. And with one out, Cowgill will be the next batter for San Diego.
First step was back and even sideways for Shane Robinson. Makes up for it with a great speed, good instinct. Just barely getting to it. So welcome to the Cactus League, Sugar Shane.
Cowgill's had a tough day. The former Angel, he's gone 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. And the pitch, that's on the outside part of the plate for a called strike. Osmer Morales, a native of Venezuela, pitched in the Seattle organization last year. In A-ball, had a 5-6 record, 3.32 ERA, starter and reliever. There's a bouncing ball hit right to third, fielded easily by Cowart. His throw will get Cowgill. And that's the second out here in the 6th. Morales was a good strikeout pitcher last year in A-ball. In fact, he averaged better than a strikeout an inning at 134 strikeouts in 116 and 2/3 innings. Played some winter ball this winter in his native country of Venezuela.
It's a big guy, good size, heavy fastball on him. To see where he pushes off and then he starts leaning towards home plate with the upper body, and he's done a very fine job at the back sessions, live batting practice, and pounding the zone. And they've been working on the recoiling, make sure it doesn't happen very often by instilling in him just the idea of just trust the big body and just follow the baseball all the way home. Terry, perhaps that could lead to more strikeouts.
Yeah, there's a cut and a miss. Looked like a good fastball there. 1-2 the count.
More 0-1 counts will lead to more Ks eventually.
Morales replacing Morin here in the top of the 6th inning. Mike Morin gave up 2 hits and a run, also walked the batter in his 1 inning of work. There's one low and outside. So it's 2-2. Angels infield backed up with 2 outs. Halos nursing a 3-2 lead here in the 6th inning, and there's a breaking ball that just missed. So the count is full. It's 3-2. Betancourt waiting on deck for the Padres, and the payoff delivery, it's nowhere close. That fastball high and away, and that'll be the walk as Blash will trot the first base as a 2-out walk. Angels pitching walking a few today. That's the 5th in this game.
Well, the Padres yesterday, they walked 14 batters. Padres pitching yesterday in a 13-2 loss to Seattle. And I'll tell you who's off to a hot start with Seattle is Nelson Cruz. 3 for 4 first 2 games, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs.
Padres have dropped their first 2 games in the Cactus League. Here's a snap throw over there to first base. Runner gets back to the bag. Jabari Blash.
Nelson Cruz will be leaving the Seattle Mariners here in a few days and join Team Dominican Republic in the World Baseball Classic. And it's not that very many times there we can associate a Seattle team with hitting a lot of home runs, but boy, they can hit the long ball.
One ball, no strikes is the count. And this is Hector Sanchez batting, so it's not Betancourt. He's going to bat for their 9-hole hitter in DH. Betancourt was 0 for 1 with a walk. Next pitch on Sanchez, cut and a miss by the left-handed batter, and the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
Hector Sanchez, a former San Francisco Giant farmhand and eventually big league player, who at one point received high praises from Barry Zito.
Yeah, he was Zito's personal catcher when he was there in San Francisco with the Giants. There goes the runner. The pitch is high. Throw to second. Waiting with the tag and putting it on is Pennington, and gunned down trying to steal his blast. And the inning is over. So Perseno firing that straight out there to second base. So 2-6 on the caught stealing. That'll wrap things up for the Padres in the 6th inning. We go to the bottom half of the 6th. Angels have a 3-2 lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. lot of changes for the Padres as the Angels get ready to bat here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Cliff Pennington will be the first batter up for the Angels. He's batting out of Cole Calhoun's slot. And here's the pitch. That's right in there for a called strike. Calhoun ended up going 1 for 2 today with an RBI single. And the next delivery, that one taken by Pennington. It evens up the count 1-1. The new pitcher is Kevin Quackenbush. And he is a longtime reliever for San Diego. Was in 60 games for them last year. Had a lot of decisions as a reliever. He was 7-7 last year. Here's a bouncing ball hit out near second. Stopped by the new shortstop. And the throw is in time over to first base to get Pennington. And that's the first out.
Dusty Coleman making a nice play behind the bag and throwing across.
So at the plate for the Angels is Shane Robinson. This will be his first at bat. He's hitting out of Mike Trout's spot. Trout, who has left the game, was up twice with a pair of walks. First delivery in there from Quackenbush for a strike. Quackenbush fastball, top out around 93, curve and changeup. And here's the big right-hander's next pitch. That's on the outside corner, and the count goes to 0-2. Quackenbush has always been kind of a fan favorite at Petco Park in San Diego. Padre fans have.
It's a good reason for that.
Yep. Liked him. As the bearded look out there on the mound. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count.
Talk about beards. How about Danny Espinosa's? Huh, Terry? Thick,
that is one
dark,
thick, bushy beard. I'll tell you what. Yep. Here's the pitch. Bounced out towards short. The shortstop Coleman will have another chance, and he will easily throw out Robinson. So a couple of ground outs to short. 2 quick outs. Jeffrey Marte, the next batter, his first at bat today. He's hitting out of Valbuena's spot. Luis was 0 for 2 today.
Marte saw some action yesterday at first base. And he'll be getting some looks at first, at third, and sometimes in the outfield. Marte's also seeing a lot of first pitch sliders for some reason, Terry. Word is getting around very quickly.
Yep.
Yesterday, 2 at-bats. First 2 pitches, sliders. Did a very fine job for the Angels in part-time duty last year. Handling right-handers as well as lefties.
Here's the next pitch, and boy, that one got away from Quackenbush. That ball bounced in. That was way shy of home plate. Good stuff.
And for what it's worth, Marte had the best at-bat to home run ratio on the Angels team last year. 15 home runs and 258 at-bats.
Here's the next pitch on him, and that's a little bit inside and misses. Rocky Gale is the new catcher for San Diego. The left side of their infield, they have Christian Villanueva at third base. Dusty Coleman is the new shortstop. The second baseman is Jose Rondon, former Angels farmhand. And they also have a new first baseman in the ball game as well. And that is Brett Wallace. They've changed up the outfield look as well this inning. And we'll update that in just a moment as the pitch is fouled off by Marte, and the count holding at 3-2. In the outfield, the center fielder is Franchi Cardero. They also have former Angel Rafael Ortega in right. There's a liner right at Villanueva, and he holds on. Boy, that ball is drilled right at the third baseman. The inning is over. So the Angels go down 1-2-3 here in the bottom of the 6th. 7th inning right around the corner. Angels with a 3-2 lead on the the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Hector Sanchez is the batter, and Oscar Morales still out there on the mound for the Angels. Here's the next pitch on Sanchez, and that one is a little bit low. The count even, it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Sanchez was batting last inning when Blash was gunned down trying to steal second. And here's a pop-up foul on the left side that's going to get back and out of play. The Angels have the most runs in the game, 3 runs, but the least number of hits, only 3. Padres have 2 runs on 5 hits. The first 2 games here in the Cactus League coming into today, the Angels hadn't had a whole lot of hits, just 5 in each of the first 2 games, but a 2-0 win in the opener against Milwaukee, a 5-3 win yesterday against Oakland, a game with only 5 hits, and Angels leading this one with only 3 hits today. There's a pitch that's taken for a ball, and the count now runs full. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Sanchez.
Idea from Morales this inning has been to go out there and use his changeup a little bit more, and the insistence of catcher Jose Briseño.
And on the next delivery, there's a swing and a miss, and he got him, struck him out.
Thus, slow down some bats by showing that off-speed early. Very good job in the whole sequence there throughout the at-bat against Sanchez.
First strikeout today for Morales. He's working in his 2nd inning. Villanueva will bat. He's sitting out of the leadoff spot. Spangenberg started the game in that spot in the batting order for the Padres, went 0 for 3. And there's a pitch in there for a strike on Villanueva. Next delivery, ball on the count level. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. And here's the pitch. Cut and a miss. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves here on the Angels Baseball Radio Network.
2017 Angel.
Smith, Jose Mota, and our producer-engineer Jorge Sevilla with you here from Tempe Diablo Stadium. Game 3 of the Cactus League for both of these clubs. The Angels haven't lost. The Padres haven't won so far in the early going into Cactus League. Here's a ground ball hit by Villanueva to short. Pennington with the play will throw to first, and an easy out. 2 are gone.
Quite smooth there by Cliff Pennington. Got his feet under him. Took a great angle and coordination that was needed just to get his feet set. Have some momentum towards first base. Implemented there by the veteran infielder.
So here is Dusty Coleman, who's hitting out a Ibar's spot, and he swings and misses a good off-speed pitch for strike one. Here's the next delivery, and that one is low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the next pitch, and that ball's hit well into right center field. Going back out in center field, looking up and watching that one go is Robinson. That ball's a home run for Dusty Coleman. So his first at bat today for the Padres, a good one, as he hits it out to right center. That's the first home run we've seen in the Angel Cactus League games. So that ties up the game. It's 3-3.
Dusty Coleman, infielder out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Great job going the other way and staying on the fastball, and knowing that Morales has brought more of the off-speed, takes a right swing to stay square through the ball and drives it out. No stranger to home runs, though. He did hit 18 home runs or win 81 runs back in 2014 at Midland. And he's had years of 15, a couple times in the minors. The Padres, perhaps you don't associate this much with San Diego teams, especially in the challenging ballpark they play in, but last season they tied a National League record, Terry. They homered in 25 consecutive games.
Yep. Hit 177 homers last year. They were 20th in the majors in home runs.
Those 25 games, they homered 42 times.
There's one popped up foul on the left side off the bat of Brett Wallace. This is his first at bat today. He's hitting out of Will Myers' spot. Myers was 1 for 2 with a RBI single, a walk, and he also had a stolen base. So the first hit allowed in a couple of innings by Morales leaves the ballpark, and there's a cut and a miss. Down on strikes goes Wallace. That's how the inning will end. Pair of strikeouts in the inning, but also the home run ball. So we're moving to the bottom of the 7th. It's 7th inning stretch time. 3-3 Angels and Padres here from Tempe on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels set the bat as we move to the bottom of the 7th. 3-3 the score. Fans, don't forget, if you have a group of 20 or more interested in experiencing Angels baseball, receive group pricing as low as $8 per seat. Call 714-4ANGELS or visit angels.com/groups for more details. So C.J. Cron, who's been the DH today, will stay in, bat for the third time in the ball game. And all the other regulars in the lineup have gone back to the clubhouse. First pitch of ball on Cron. New pitcher is Jason Jester. And Cron drills one foul down the right side. Gave it a good ride, but a foul ball. And the count even on him. It's 1-1 strike. Jester replaces Quackenbush, who had a 1-2-3 inning. There's the next pitch on C.J. Cron, in there for a called strike. Cron a single and scored a run his last time up. He's also rounded out.
Jason Jester out of Longview, Texas. Solid minor league numbers. 10-6, 2.96, 106 games, all in relief, and 130 2/3 innings. 153 strikeouts with only 31 walks, Terry. How about that?
Good control. Here's the 2-2, and Cron takes that slider low and away.
Not a big guy, but boy, he's got a big arm. Stands about 5'11", 205 pounds. 23rd round selection in the 2014 draft.
So on the payoff pitch, it is a called third strike. Cron thought it might have been a ball. He was starting to head to first base, but the home plate umpire, Travis Eggert, rings him up. That's the first out. And strikeout, just the second in the game for San Diego pitching. They've each come on called third strikes.
That's a pretty good spot right there. It's some good zip on that fastball for the former Texas A&M Aggie.
So here is Eric Young Jr. with his first at bat of the day, and he hits one right back to the mound, and the ball stopped by Jester. Throw over to first base, and out easily is Eric Young Jr. Couldn't have hit it any harder. Right back to the pitcher on that one. Lined it right back to the mound.
So far, some good things out of Eric Young Jr., and he's played in every game so far for the Angels, making some good contact and showing off that speed. Good bat control and versatility.
So 2 outs, had a strikeout and a line out here in the inning, and the first pitch, that one is in there on David Fletcher. This is his first at bat. Here's the next delivery. Hard hit ground ball out of the reach of Villanueva, the third baseman. It's going to roll all the way down in the left field corner. Heading into second, stopping there with a 2-out double is Fletcher.
Is he on base every single time he's up or what?
It seems that way. It really does.
It's a great job of hitting. Yesterday, the Angels put him out there second half of the game again. Needed somebody to get on base. He drew a walk, ended up drawing a couple of walks, and here he gets on top of the off speed up around the eyes and just slams that top hand over it for the extra base hit.
Yeah, Fletcher, as Jose mentioned, on base both times yesterday for the Angels. He also scored a run. And first time up today at second base with a 2-out double. Here's the pitch, and at the plate, fouling one off is Cowart. This is his first at bat. He's hitting out of Carlos Perez's number 8 spot.
There's a big spring for him, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough for him to make the opening day roster, but you'd like to see him, if nothing else, have a solid spring that he's still on the radar screen.
Have a good showing. Angels gave him a chance even by playing him at second base last year and see if he could provide an option depth-wise. Tools are there. Just it's a matter of putting it all together. The Angels have given him plenty of opportunities.
1 ball, 1 strike is the count. time called as Coward gets it from the home plate umpire.
There was a time when Coward abandoned the idea of switch hitting. There was a time when he had to take a step from AAA to single A. Every time he's responded on the challenge.
And the next delivery to Coward. He lines one down the right field side. That is a fair ball. It's going to bounce all the way out to the wall. Coming in and scoring from second base will be Fletcher. Back-to-back two-out doubles. And the Angels get the lead back. It's now 4-3.
Exactly, more of that is what the Angels would like to see from Caleb Coward. Flatter swing, a shorter swing, and certainly one that, as I talk flat, is one that's going to stay in the zone a little bit longer. He does have a tendency to cut through the zone way too quick.
So here is Briseño, the catcher. His first at bat. He's hitting out of Simmons' number 9 spot. Andrelton went 1 for 2 today, scored a run. Briseño takes a strike.
Very high on this young man. Multi-levels last year, showed the ability to really call a good game, to block, to throw well, as we already saw this game. And it's a pretty good sized guy, as you would like to see that stamina for a catcher for a long season.
Takes that pitch for a ball. The bottom of the 7th inning. It's being brought to you by our friends at Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet, pursuing excellence every day. Visit them at rotolo.com. That's rotolo.com. Here's the next delivery, and that is fouled off on the right side. It's backing out of play.
Terry, when Jose Molina, the Angels catching instructor, talks about this kid, his eyes light up. And if it comes from Jose Molina, you listen.
Mentioned, I guess it was yesterday when we saw Briseño, that he came over from the Atlanta Braves along with Andrelton Simmons. Of course, Eric Ibar was part of that deal, and he's now here today with San Diego.
About that. Eric had a tough time in Atlanta. Just could never get into his game after a pretty productive and solid spring training. Just could not get going in the regular season.
2 of the 3 players that the Angels traded to Atlanta in that Simmons deal are no longer with the Atlanta Braves. Here's the pitch, and that's low and outside. So the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Angels are up by a score of 4-3. And the thing you got to like about today's ball game for the Angels, all the runs the Angels have scored today have come with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. That's lined into right center for a base hit. Going into third base, being waved around is Cowart. The throw goes to second. He'll score. That's another 2-out RBI hit, this time by Briseño. And the Angels add on. It's now 5-3.
Talk about consecutive swings from 3 youngsters. Fletcher getting on top of a off speed around his eyes. Double Coward. Flat swing through the zone, and Briseño now makes the biggest adjustment. That is to cut down the swing and use that big part of the field, reaching out with those long arms and getting a big RBI.
So the batter now will be Michael Hermosillo. His first time up. He's hitting out of the leadoff spot that was occupied by Yunel Escobar. Escobar went 0 for 3. First pitch chopped foul over on the third base side. No balls and 1 strike. So the Angels, who had a 2-run lead at 3-1, saw the Padres come back to tie it up. Angels back up by a pair again. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Hermosillo. Pennington would be the next batter. The Angels have gotten a pair of 2-out runs in this inning. This inning started off with a strikeout and a liner back to the mound, but since then 3 straight 2-out hits. And the pitch, that's bounced back to the mound, jumping up, fielding his position is Jester, and he will throw out Hermosillo on the comebacker to end the inning. But a pair of runs come in, 3 hits for the Angels, and as we head to the 8th, the 5-3 Angels lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Here in the 8th inning, the Angels will bring in lefty Chris O'Grady. O'Grady is here today up from minor league camp. And he will work with a 2-run lead. The Angels up 5-3 as we go to the 8th inning. O'Grady replaces Osmer Morales, who worked 2 innings, gave up a hit. It was the home run to Dusty Coleman. That was the only run Morales allowed. He walked 1, struck out 2. Morales is the pitcher of record. If the Angels can hold on to this lead, he would get the win. So O'Grady is ready, and Rafael Ortega, who was with the Angels for part of last season, leads things off for San Diego. He signed with them in the offseason, and the first pitch in there on him for a strike. Next delivery, Ortega cuts at that one, fouls it off on the left side, backing out of play.
Ortega was one of the most impressive players we saw in the camp here with the Angels in 2016. It came down to Ortega and G-Man Choi, who was a Rule 5 and who was going to be heading west with the Angels to open up the season.
Ortega was in 66 games for the Angels last year, hit .232, 8 stolen bases, solid defensive outfielder.
Tell you what, at one point, after a month, maybe a month and a half in the big leagues, he was leading the American League in assists.
Right. There's a fly ball he lifts into shallow left center field. Let's see who's going to call for it. It'll be Eric Young Jr., and he'll make the grab. That's the first out here in the 8th.
Needless to say, Ortega does possess one of the best arms in baseball.
So 1 gone here in the 8th inning. Jose Rondon never played for the Angels, but was in the Angels system. He will be the batter. And the first pitch on Rondon, he takes that one outside for ball 1. He's hitting out of Zwahe's spot. He went 1 for 3 with an RBI hit. Rondon lifts one in the air, hits it well into right field, backpedaling, and a few feet from the rim of the track, making the catches. Hermosillo. That ball took him out near the warning track. Deep fly out to right field, and mentioned in the past how deep it is here at Tempe Diablo Stadium down that right field corner. 360, and the gap's 400 feet. So long out. 2 gone. Rocky Gale, the catcher, will be the next batter.
Michael Hermosillo turning his shoulders, his hips, and all in the right direction to allow that slice to get in the right spot into his glove.
First pitch on Gale. That one is in there for a strike. Chris O'Grady, former 10th round pick of the Angels in 2012. There's one that's fouled off the catcher, Briseño, and he gets up slowly, trying to walk it off. It knocked the mask off of him. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Chris O'Grady, who's pitching for the Angels, was taken away by the Cincinnati Reds as a Rule 5 draftee from the Angels back in December of 2015, and was later returned to the Angels. He pitched at Arkansas and Salt Lake last year, mostly in relief, although he did make 10 starts. Played some winter ball in the Dominican this past winter. And here's the next pitch. Liner through into right center field, just out of the reach of Fletcher, the second baseman, and playing it in is Hermosillo, the right fielder. So Gale gets a 2-out hit. Inning continues for San Diego.
Very nice. Great approach all the way around. Scoring off against lefty. Know that there's a lot of fastballs tailing away. And, of course, being honest and staying on the changeup.
So here is Cordero. Francie Cordero, the batter.
Let's check out our Franchi. Never seen a Franchi before.
First name is spelled Francy. And he takes that one inside for ball. He bats from the left side. Chris O'Grady, fastball. He's got a good cutter. He'll use that against right-handed batters. He'll throw a curve and change up. He'll top out around 92 at the fastball. There's a pitch low and outside.
Franchi
Ball, no strikes.
Sorry, Terry. Franchi Cordero out of Oswego in the Dominican Republic. Split the season last year between Single-A Lake Elsinore, Double-A San Antonio, and Triple-A El Paso. 290 combined, 16 triples, 11 home runs, 54 RBIs, 23 stolen bases. Talented player.
Cordero was a shortstop at one time, and then he switched to center field, and he's regarded as one of the better prospects in the Padres system.
In fact, he was named a 2016 MILB.com organizational all-star for San Diego.
It's worked a 3-0 count here, lefty-lefty matchup, and that one is in there for a strike on him. We're in the 8th inning here from Tempe. The attendance today, 3,373. 3,373. And the next delivery on the 3-1. That one misses ball 4, so a 2-out walk. O'Grady having a little trouble finishing off the inning now after he got the first 2 batters on the fly ball outs. Another walk issued by Angels pitching today. That's 6 of them in the ball game, but the Angels, despite the walk total, have a 5-3 lead here in the 8th inning. Catcher Briseño goes out, has a quick word with O'Grady. Jose Perella is the batter. This is his first time up. And the pitch, big cut at that one. He fouls that pitch back behind the plate.
At one point, Perella got a nice look from the Yankees. As an infielder, he can also play some outfield for you.
So the count, no balls and a strike on him. O'Grady set, checks the runner at second. There's a cut and a miss, and the count 0-2. Boy, Perella, he's not afraid to give it all he's got with the swing. He takes some big swings. He's not that big of a guy. 15 games last year for the Padres. He hit just 154. 6 for 39 last year for San Diego. And the 2-strike pitch. That just missed a little bit low and away. Varela can play a couple of different infield positions, second base and shortstop. And also in the outfield, left field, that's where he is today. Here's the next pitch, and boy, he took another big cut, swings and misses, struck him out. So that will end the inning. And they leave a pair of runners on base, 8 stranded today by San Diego. Bottom of the 8th coming up here in Tempe. The Angels have a 5-3 lead on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. New pitcher for San Diego. They have a right-hander in there. His name is Phil Matten. And the first batter he will face against the Angels here is Cliff Pennington. And the first pitch, that one taken for a called strike. Matten replaces Jester, who the Angels touched for 3 hits and a couple of 2-out runs last inning. Right-hander working from the stretch, and the next pitch on Pennington. That one misses low for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Infield backed up except at third, where Villanueva is right near the edge of the grass. There's a cut and a miss, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fans, don't forget to join the Angels for spring training here at Tempe Diablo Stadium on March the 24th. That's less than a month away. The Angels will take on the Mariners that day. Fans will have a chance to enjoy a post-game concert performance by Gavin DeGraw, I should say. Visit angels.com/promotions to purchase your tickets today. Pennington is a strikeout victim as Matten gets one by him. Struck him out, and 1 gone here to start off the bottom of the 8th inning. Shane Robinson set for his second at bat this afternoon. Grounded out his first time up. And here's the pitch. That's a strike on the outside corner. Matten is the 7th San Diego pitcher today. If the Angels bring in another pitcher in the top of the 9th inning. It would be the Angels' 7th of the day, and there's one that's fouled back on the right side, backing out of play. So it's no balls, 2 strikes. Wind has picked up a little bit, and we've had some rain, just very light a few innings ago, but there's a lot of rain in the forecast, certainly for later this afternoon and this evening and into tomorrow here in the Valley. So understand some of the other venues in the Cactus League, they've had some rain today. No rainouts per se, but there's been wet weather all over here in the Valley on this Monday. 1-2 is the count on Robinson. The next pitch, he pops it in the air into shallow right field. Coming in is Rafael Ortega to make the catch. That's the second out. 2 gone here in the bottom of the 8th. Jose, I understand when you're going to head downstairs for the interview after the ball game today, you're going to visit with Angels bench coach Dino Ebel.
Yes, Dino Ebel, who is in charge of organizing pretty much everything to the minute here in camp, and he's quite happy to have guys on the field. Everybody's healthy. But you know, a guy that Mike Swisher's done for a long time, and to us, at least to me, he's got a feature as a manager in the big leagues.
There's a pitch on its way. That's on the outside corner. Yeah, you would have to think Dino's name will be out there in years to come, and it's already been out there in recent years as far as some openings. 0-1 is the count here on Jeffrey Marte. Next pitch, that one pops off the mid of the catcher Gale. 1 ball, 1 strike. The bottom of the 8th inning. It's being brought to you by Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet, pursuing excellence every day. Visit them at Rotolo.com. That's Rotolo.com. Matten is ready, and the next pitch. That's a pitch taken right in there for a strike. So the count goes to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Phil Matten is originally from Paducah, Kentucky. Pitched in A and AAA last year. Overall was a 5-game winner as a reliever.
There's some good basketball around there.
Yep. This one that's a little bit low. It's been in pro ball. This is his 3rd season. And in the minors, a lot of success. He's done some closing. 1.60 ERA. That kind of speaks for itself. So
I think he's got a chance, Terry, to sneak in there at some point here in 2017.
Yeah. 24 years old. Next delivery, gets grounded, a fair ball right past the third base bag down in the left field corner. It's going to roll, so there'll be extra bases for Marte. He'll cruise into second base, and just like last inning in the bottom of the 7th, the Angels get a 2-out double. That led to another 2-out double and a 2-out single as well.
These are the things that have made Jeffrey Marte so valuable to the Angels in their eyes as to the role that he can play for you in the regular season. Backing up first, backing up at third, occasionally in an emergency in the outfield. And certainly he'll give you a good at-bat against right-handers and against lefties. So that happened very often last year.
At the play now is Francisco Arcia, who's getting it at bat in today's game. He's hitting out a Crone spot. C.J. Crone was 1 for 3 today. He's the DH. Arcia is one of the catchers in the Angels camp. Played AA and AAA last year. Hit just .228. And here's the next pitch. He takes that one low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's been great to also be able to talk to the audience in San Diego and hoping to have a solid season. Improving each year along with the growth in the minor leagues that they do have.
There's a fly ball that's hit into shallow center field. Coming in and waiting on it. And making the grab is Cordero, and the inning is over. easy play wraps up things for the Angels here in the bottom of the 8th. We are headed to the 9th inning with the Angels leading San Diego 5-3 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels make a pitching change as Drew Gagno comes into the ball game. He's a pitcher who the Angels acquired from the Milwaukee Brewers in the offseason. Fastball, he'll top out around 94. He has a good curveball. He'll throw a cutter and a changeup. Went to Liberty High School in Brentwood. Also went to Long Beach State. A year ago pitched at AA and AAA in the Brewers organization. So Gagno, a non-roster pitcher now in the Angels system, 6'4", about 195 pounds, will be looking to get the save in this ball game. Hector Sanchez, the first batter he faces, left-handed hitter, takes that one for a called strike. Gagno spells his last name G-A-G-N-O-N, pronounced Gagno. There's one that's low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Angels trying to make it 3 straight here in the Cactus League. Games have been close. Angels have been winning close games, at least the first 2, and have a 2-run lead in this one. And it's a foul ball right off the foot of the batter Sanchez, and he's bending over. He's actually using that bat kind of like a cane right now as he's limping around in the batter's circle. And they're going to take a look at him. He has the protective gear on the right chin area. And when he fouled that ball off, he hit it off the leg that didn't have the protective gear. Wouldn't you know it, the left leg, and it got him right near the knee area. Still talking things over with his manager out there, Andy Green, who's come out to take a look at him, and also one of the athletic trainers for the Padres. And Sanchez is in some pain. We'll have to see if he's going to continue the at-bat here. Still hobbling around just outside the batter's circle, but it looks like he's going to stay in there. Ninth inning. Angels have a 5-3 lead. Each team with 7 hits. So the batter back in the box, and here's the 1-2 pitch. And sure enough, Gagno went after him inside and low, but it missed. 2-2. And the 2-2 delivery is grounded on the right side. The batter Sanchez can hardly run, and the throw by Fletcher, the second baseman of Marte, will get him by a mile. So that is the first out. 4-3 on the ground out. Villanueva is the next batter. Since coming into the ball game, he's had one at bat, and he grounded out to shortstop. 2 more outs to go. Angels and Cubs tomorrow at Sloan Park in Mesa. Here's the next pitch. Fly ball lifted into center field. Backpedaling, now under waiting, and making the grab is Shane Robinson. Got a good read off the bat of Villanueva there, did Robinson. 1 more out to go. 2 gone here in the 9th. Dusty Coleman will be the batter. Manny Banuelos will go for the Angels tomorrow. Against the Cubs, they will send right-hander Alec Mills to the mound. Wednesday, the Angels will take on the Texas Rangers. We'll be back here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. And the pitch grounded on the right side, scooped up by Fletcher. This should do it. The throw to first in time, and the ball game is over. So Drew Gagno comes in and retires 3 in a row, gets a save in this ball game. And the Angels come away with their 3rd straight victory here in Cactus League play, beating the Padres today by the final of 5-3. The Angels had 5 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. And the Angels end up leaving 4 runners on base. The Padres had 3 runs, 7 hits, 1 error. And San Diego today will leave a total of 8. Good ball game for the Angels today. All 5 Angel runs scoring with 2 outs here this afternoon in this victory against San Diego. So the Angels will shift venues with the game tomorrow, as I mentioned, in Mesa against the world champion Chicago Cubs. Angels and Cubs tomorrow. Cubs will be here in Tempe to take on the Angels a week from today, next Monday, and that'll be on March the 6th. And just looking at our Cactus League schedule, those will be the 2 times the Angels and world champions will square off against each other. We're going to take you down by the first base side. Jose Mota is standing by with Angels bench coach Dino Ebel.
Well, Dino, spring training presents an opportunity for you guys to see guys on the field after so many meetings. How happy are you with the results so far?
Oh, it's been great, Jose. The guys are, we're getting our work in the morning. They're coming out playing baseball, and that's the main thing. It's early in spring training and make sure they're getting their work in, their reps, and so far so good.
With so many faces, so many bodies, how are you able to manage to divide everything up and everybody getting their work in?
You know what? It's a heavy roster. I think we're close to 70 players here, but every morning we're in there getting our schedule prepared. And when they first get into spring training, you go around, you meet everybody, you find out, through the scouting reports what we have, and so far it's been great.
Talk about the regulars that we saw in there today and the things that you guys are trying to see from them early as they progress through camp, and how are you going to space them out as it is a longer camp?
It is, and the guys, they're getting their work in. Today was their first day out, the regular guys, and it's reps. They get a couple at bats, they get their 5 innings in, and then as the spring training gets longer, we start to play them longer to get more at bats. Talking to the guys the other day, they're going to be comfortable around 60 at bats, so that's our goal, is try to get our regular guys 60 at bats through spring and then start the season.
Bench coach, you don't have to tell us every strategy, but you come into the season with an idea of things that the team can do better with the personnel you have and adapt to that?
Absolutely. We worked hard this winter, Billy and the guys upstairs, getting us a team that is going to fulfill the needs of this ball club for a championship caliber team. So when we get to spring training, we get together as a staff and we put it all together, and we try to get them in a spot they're going to succeed, and so far it's been great.
Have a great one the rest of the time, Dino. Thank you.
Thanks, Jose.
For Terry Smith, let's go back to you, amigo.
All right, thank you, Jose. Always cool to hear Dino on the broadcast as well. Angels come away with the victory today, 5-3, the final score. For those of you watching on TV, Jose, along with Kent French, will have a lot more post-game analysis. That's coming up in minutes on Angels Live. I want to remind you, this is the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Do you two have any idea